Hello, welcome to Rob's Models. I'm Rob, and today going to be starting a new kit, which is the Eduard FW190A-8/R2 48 Scouts, the ProfiPACK edition, and the the kit reference is 82145. But let's open up first of all, see what we're going to be working with. If you haven't already, you can watch the unboxing, which I think unboxing of this kit. Hopefully the link's going to be somewhere on the top of your screen there to see that if you haven't already. But let's jump straight in for now. So straight off, seeing that we're going to have to immediately go, options is going to be, okay, we're going into the cockpit. Side panels, first of all, by the look of this, and either going to be using photo-etch or a part where we're just going to be putting decal on, but looks like a different one, or a part with moulded plastic. Before we do anything, let's pull out those parts just to do a comparison. We're probably going to be doing a photo-etch, but let's have a look, see what we're working with there. So we're on sprue C. So we can see here we've got options of either going to be using C71, C75 or C20. So that'll be part A, which is the right, which is the starboard side panel there. So what was the options? Yeah. Okay. So 71, 75, or C20, which is over there. Now, I can understand the difference between C20 and C71. However, okay, I've spotted it. Okay. Both of these actually look to be basically the same, the 71 and 75. I thought they're both flat, ready to have either decal or photo-etch applied. However, 71, which is the one which has the photo-etch, has got a little raised notch there. Well, that one is completely level all the way over, and of course that one's got the raised part on. So as we're going to be doing photo-etch, we're going to be wanting to use that part. But before I put the photo-etch on, the photo-etch is coloured, so I don't want to go and stick it on because we're going to need to paint the plastic parts. So what I'll do is build up these pieces without any of the photo-etch, but using the parts for the photo-etch. That can then be painted, and then the coloured photo-etch can then be added onto that. So let's remove these pieces. So first of all, as I'm going to take them off, I'm just sort of going to take them off. There we go. Might have been a bit too tight. There's a little notch on there, or the decal option. So 71 is that part there. That needs a little tidy up. Still got the little bit on there. We'll be doing that one. We'll do that whilst we're here as well. C59. Let's order. C59, C60, very small parts going on here. 72 for that side. C41, I'm going to have to remove a part of that. and that's the same idea, is either flat or the part with already the molded parts. Then that's going to be adding photo-etch into there. So now we're on to the parts on the other sprue. So first off, in the cockpit tub, you can see those parts get added on. So we see the A38. Oh, 2 cockpit tubs. Which one shall I use? I just took one off without even thinking about it. We don't use that one. We need A38, which is this one. There's a few slight differences. Main difference, as far as I can tell, is actually just the detail on the back there, but that is A38. Okay, that was A1. We're not using A1, we're using A38. I just saw a cockpit tub and took it off, not even thinking about it. Which is actually matches the back there. A39. And we need to see A34 as well. And finally, left to see just for C39. So, apart from the photo-etch, we should now have all the parts, all the plastic parts, just for these 2 pieces here. So we'll just do that up to get up to this section here, build up the main tub for it. I'll just file all the tabs off. And we just remember to take a little bit of this off the scalpel. Now what end actually comes off? This is minute. Probably shouldn't have taken this bit off yet because it actually gets connected back on with a photo-etch part. I'll remove that bit now. If I were to lose this bit, it'd be very easy because it's just a little, basically just a very small little round handle, but could admittedly be quite easily replaced with a little bit of a sprue. Let's pop that over there. I'll probably forget whereabouts I've put that for now. And now I just want to try to build these parts up. Going to use, tell me you're extra thin. Good length, isn't it? This little part here, it's going to be getting the orientation of it correct without pinging it off. Let's try and have a closer look. Okay. I think the best thing is going to be there's a little hole that goes in. A little bit of extra thin in there. Okay. I had it in perfect place and I just want to turn it around and knocked it. Yep, that's correct. No, knocked it again. I think what happened is you just took a moment, the time I was fiddling around with it, some of that had just evaporated off, so I just add a bit more of that. Pop that back on there. Same again. Just noticed there's a bit where I need to remove some detail. It's going to be replaced with the photo-etch parts. Let's do that before I put that on. In fact, probably literally just a couple of swipes. There's only a very finely moulded bit of detail on there. That's fine. Do this again. Drop that in the little receiving hole. Again, the time it took me to get that in place, it had dried. Okay, that's on that one, that's on that one. Now we just want to place these on. These have got slots. Should just go in quite easy. That actually literally just clips into place. And do it properly. Over there. Be sure to have those raised sections towards the rear. I might just tidy up those edges once that glue dries. So this part is going to go 2 receiving holes there. I could just do with another bit of a file. Flip it over and just do a few drips of that in from the rear. I'm also going to do a little on the seam. Just make sure we've got a nice smooth join. These hopefully should be a little bit more dry now. That side goes on that side. What I'll do is there's a bit of photo-etch. That bit of photo-etch, I'll just check whether that needs to be added before paint or after paint. Pushed in place. And the control column. I sometimes debate whether I should put these in afterwards, but I'm going to put it in now. And just hope I don't knock it off. Okay, so we have got photo-etch parts to add to it, so let's grab out the photo-etch, see which parts are coloured, which bits aren't. So obviously side panels are coloured. So let's look at this bit. That would be PE14. That is coloured and has also got a bit of detail on there as well, so I won't add that until afterwards. PE20 is part 20. part 20 is just actually plain, so actually it might be worth, actually I can't really add that on, but it will need painting. And what was the other part we were looking for? So 11 and 13. 11 is not coloured, 13 is. Interesting. Okay. So some of these bits will just need to, well I say some, literally that part there will get painted, but the rest will need to be painted afterwards. And that just looks like it's a map pocket. That probably would have been easier to have put on. Oh well, never learn. Right, let's chop that piece off. Need a little bit of bending, and also I do need to just run a ballpoint pen over it, the rear part, just to create a little sticky out bit, a little ridge in it. However, I think this is going to be a little bit too small. We'll give it a go, because I need to get my bending tools right. Ballpoint pen. Really made much difference to it. I'll just add a little bit of relief. Let's get my bending. Alright, I was going to use the bending tweezers, but I think this is just going to be too small for that, so I think just using these tweezers and this map pocket. Only literally the bit that needs folding is less than 1 millimetre. I've got a very, very small bending tool type thing. Easier with these, use the correct tool. It's not gone quite to plan. Close enough to get away with, I think. We find it has a bit of 3D relief to it. Now I just need some super glue, or actually, yeah, let's just use the DVD. Right, there we go. On that pocket. Located. I am a little bit worried. It might interfere with The other bits we're just going to have to wait to find out, and if it does, it's just going to have to be snapped off and put back on again. We've got just a little map pocket in there. Now what I like to do, there's bits that haven't been done yet, so I'm just going to mark them off. So I'm just going to circle the things that I haven't done. So those parts, and we know that was going to be coloured. Little straps, making sure that goes on afterwards. I haven't done that bit yet. That's all fine. Now let's move on to the next parts. So this is really going to be laminating bits up, which again going to be coloured. So I want to build up the plastic parts for this without actually putting on the photo etch parts. Keep it simple, and you can build it up and slot that in place. So again, you've got the options of either using plastic parts completely. So let's have a look. So C67 and C51. That's 16. No, upside down. That was 61. So yeah, options to either use the photo etch bits which have moulded, use the photo etch, or flat or put decals on. So we're going for this option here, which is to use C70 and C48. So those are the flat bits, but again that's also got a little notch, a bit like those side consoles did. C70, C48. So the question is going to be, is building this bit, do I pop this in this stage of the build, or wait until paint it separately and then drop it in once it's painted and got the photo etch on? Let's let that dry for a minute first, then we can work that one out. So again, I'm just going to circle these bits, the photo etch pieces. You can see we've got two layers of it going on there, trying to add a bit of a 3D-ness. Okay, I've stuck the bits together and popped a bit of primer on, and I've used the MRP Fine Surface Primer. The reason is because I'm going to be using that set of paints, which is the Vallejo paints with the Luftwaffe colours. acrylic. I've got them, might as well use them, and that's going to be the paint I'm putting on the RLM66, which is the black grey, which should match the colour that we're going to be putting on for the photo etch. But what I have done is giving it a primer first, mainly just because when this goes on to neat plastic, it doesn't really want to sit very well. Plus we have got a few little photo etch bits here and there, popped a little bit on the sidewall, doesn't really show very much. But I've given it all a prime. Also primed that as well, because whilst there, I'm going to stick a bit of metallic on that, so that'll be ready. So that's ready to be closed in. Just a few other bits and pieces. So get a little bit of paint on here. As I say, using the Vallejo RLM66 one. That's the black grey. A little bit in the airbrush, and hopefully it should be quite a similar match to what we've already got. So let's try on some of the internal parts for now. Okay, so now we're at the stage where we want to start putting some detail in the cockpit. So, well, basically the parts that are going to be done before it comes together. So you're going to be using photo etch. Just to recap on this, at the moment I've gave it a primer and then done the Vallejo Model Air RLM66, which is a very similar colour to what is already on the photo etch. So it's just going to be a case of taking some of these bits off, sticking them on. Typically, people tend to use the super glue, CA glue. I'm actually going to use PVA glue using Glue and Glaze. I do find it works quite well. It doesn't have that quite instant stick that you tend to get from a super glue. However, it gives you a moment to just get things in position before it really tacks on. And also, you can use it, it kind of gives a bit of a glazing appearance for the instruments. So let's get some of these bits on and stuck. So looking at the instructions, we're going with the PE ones where for that I'm going to be needing on the right hand side PE24, make sure I use the right one. So we've now removed that, and I'll make sure I keep it the right way around. So that will go onto that piece there. So what I'll do is I'll just do this one now and then get the other bits on. So cocktail stick, just a little bit of that on the end of the cocktail stick. smear it off. You need a thin layer of it, not too much because we don't want it to be coming out. Take this part here. Tweezers would have been a good idea. Should put this in there. So we've got that in place. The grey looks like it should match as well, but what we will do is once we've got all this done, we will put a little bit of weathering in there, which will just help everything just come together. The annoying thing is, it looks like it's got a bend on my photo etch. It's not sitting flush. This is a good thing with the PPA, it gives you a bit of time just to move things around and keep it on the finger. The other side. What probably happened is that we bent a little bit in the removal. I should be cutting this. I actually have a tile that I use with cutting or removing photo etch to ensure that it doesn't get bent. For some reason I'm not using that. A little bit of that. What it might be, I'll flip over to the super glue with the smaller parts. Just move that around slightly, just to make sure that it gets all lined up. There we go. So now we've got some instrument panels on there. The problem is with the photo etch is that it's a bit more two-dimensional than it would actually be using the moulded parts. But we have got some extra details to add on, so I'm sure we'll start adding a bit more relief to it. Okay. Now, let's do the next one. Actually, there's a small over here, 14. Went the part that we filed off. Little dab of the PVA. Just where that is going to go. And actually, I don't lose my parts. I'll try out my new picker-upper tool. So it's like a little pen, but it's got a little sticky bit of latex type stuff on the end of the needle. Should be able to just use that to pick that up. On. And there we go, just added on an extra little bit of detail that you probably can't see. Right, some of these are going to be small. How noticeable they're going to be. Sometimes you can spend a long time putting on photo etch parts that just won't even be visible. And least you know they are there. So I'm going to crack on and get a few more of these parts on. You can see that I've actually put in the exhaust pipes, the exhaust manifolds that are just showing. They've been painted. To be honest, I'm not too sure how much they're going to show, but giving it a go. Engine, I've got to say, I really do like the detail on that. I mean, you're only seeing the front part, but with a bit of metallic, and for that, it says steel, but I used aluminium because I knew I was going to be putting a wash over, which was going to knock it back. So I think that's worked quite well. And irony part for the front, that's on, and of course the cockpit. It needs to have a wash just to knock back. I think the straps are a little bit too clean. What I'm going to do, put it in there, and then once it's actually all together, put a wash, and that will just help bring it all together. So I think it's going to be best to start at the rear and then try to slot the bits in, because we've got a few parts that are going to need to be coming in, and I think if we start at the rear we can sort of put it in as we go. So fortunately with this one there's a few little let's just pop that. Okay, so that goes quite well. Just wondering whether I should put a bit of no, that's just going to be straight with this one. Run a little bead down, a little bit in there. A bit more liberal on the rear part there, because that's going to be covered up with the actual rudder itself. Down the join. Okay, so that's that rear section, which is essentially the only part of the fuselage that's going to be getting glued, holding this together for now. Give that a moment. What we'll do, pop the clip on here. It actually seems to be holding okay, just for security. Let's just pop that on there. Okay, so now that's holding. What I want to try to do is slot some of these pieces in. And start with this one. So the idea is I'm going to try to use that to okay, so that's come in. We've got that okay. Right, what I will do, before I put the glue around there, we've got to use a few other parts just to go in. This is probably going to be the fiddliest. Just to check which is the gun sight, the upper control panel part. It's got a slot. Be careful with that. Stops in there. It's wide enough. Something wrong in there. Okay, let's get some glue in here. As you can see, I'm doing it from the bottom, so that'll make it a bit cleaner, be a bit more liberal with that. Hold that in place for a moment there. Now, I did realise that what I could do is I was going to got some elastic bands to go round. The problem is if I wrap elastic bands around here, it will pinch that bit there because there's no support, which will pull it apart a bit more at the top. This part should go in. I'm sort of putting this in a bit backwards. I'm going to get this bit installed. That's going to give me a bit more rigidity, so then I can pop that bit in and slot that in, because that seemed to have a bit of a looser fit. Might be doing this the wrong way round. Let's give it a go and see what happens. Good load of this from the inside. Just give that. No, these things are covered. Can be a bit more messy with the glue. Just hold that into position for a moment. Just a case of holding and waiting. Pointing here whilst in that, I have put a little, you can see a little bit of white. Notice there was a little panel that needed filling, so that's just a little smear of the perfect plastic putty. So that should mean that when that gets painted, that's going to smooth over. The tricky bit was it was actually very close to the rivets, so just used a little bit on the end of a cocktail stick, popped it in just for a moment, and once it sort of started to dry, just wiped it off with my finger, just leaving it in the panel. Okay, so that's more of cured, at least it's got enough stick to hold it in place. Actually, whilst we're here, this one in. Again, coming from the rear, take advantage of it being open. How much of this would actually be visible? One thing I did spot is that I haven't actually painted the inside of those parts. I can brush paint that, that'll be fine. Okay, so we've got the fuselage halves together. What I've done is put a bit of this stuff, which is the perfect plastic putty, over the join, just where it's come together. I've put a bit of masking tape on there, so before we do anything else, I want to tidy that up, and then we can start working on some of the internal parts. So just peel off the tape. So as you see, I actually watered this down because this is water soluble, this plastic putty. So we've got a strip on there. And that should mean that it's trying to localise the filler into the join, not too much cleanup needed. So hopefully we should then just be able to take a sanding stick. It should just be a case of getting a bit of that rub over to get rid of the speck first of all. I already have a bit of sinkage in there. I was already wondering whether I should have actually need to do a second one on this. Actually, no. I'm just a bit thick. I'm trying to do this lightly. Obviously, don't want to remove too much detail. Have to rescribe too much of it back in again. Come back to that in a moment. Might have to do a bit of rescribing work just on some of those bands, but I can do it quite finely. And flip this over so it's a little bit more smoother. Just making it look that bad. There must just be a bit of a step on there. Let's just go for a much more smoother one now. Now, what we'll do, quite a lot of that is sort of, especially in that, you can see there's the ridges going across, and that's just the dust that's got into there. Touch the kitchen paper, we've got some water here, just going to dampen that. Wipe over just to get that dust off. Now hopefully that'll get the dust out and leave the filler in place. Right, so we've got a nice neat little line going down there. It wasn't actually too much needed, you can see, but a little bit of a gap here and there. It just really makes sure it's more of a smooth, follows the radius around. What we might even do, just for completeness, Tamiya P cutter. Even needed. It might be. So you can use a bit of tape as a guide. A little bit of that panel line just across the top, needs reinstating. Literally just a couple of millimeters, just where obviously the filler's gone in and it's been sanded down. That should do. You're going to be able to notice it at the moment. Again, a little one on the bottom. This tape isn't really acting as much of a guide, but just so let's just put in a little reinstate, a little bit of a panel line just going across there, and two on the top. So that's fine. Neatens that up a touch, which is good. Next part is to build up some of the internal structures on the wing. So I've taken these off. What I have done is there was another little exhaust pipe bit that needed a little bit of painting on there. I have test fitted it, and like the exhaust on the side, it's barely going to be visible, to be honest, but it's in there. I know it's there and probably was a little bit washed. What I have done, just to speed things up for the video now, is there's this cross member there, which and a little bit of a sort of a pipe work on their little hydraulics. I've actually put that on already, and that's just had a bit of time just to cure, just because I wasn't too sure whether it was going to be structural and parts are going to be going onto there. So just to speed up the video here, I've just got to get on and put those bits in place. But here we are. Actually, let's have a look. So bit of just a quick recap to what I've done, what you've missed out on. So we've got to that part there. That's everything all done here. Next part is here. This is going to need a bit of painting. So this is the top of the wings. So when the wheelbase are open, you'll see the top there. There was little parts there which I have put in already, just little small parts. That's going to need painting. And also I have drilled out some holes, which is the top of the wings, and there's some little bumps, little hole there, little, put it over the white, you can see it. Had to drill those out, so there'll be little bumps that go over there, and I believe that's going to be whereabouts the guns would go. So essentially, don't lose the exhaust pipe. We've popped that one there. We've got here that little exhaust pipe going in there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that in a bit, because I just checked down here. This all needs painting the interior colour, which is the RML76. They call it light blue, but it's not light blue, more of a bluey grey. Need to put all these bits in, and then once that's painted, I can then slot that part in. So I don't think it would actually make too much difference, but we'll do it in that order anyway. I didn't know whether some of these are going to be some photo-etch parts. Bits seem to be getting laminated there, but I don't think it's just photo-etch parts. I think it's just going to be some small bits of plastic, mainly of the C sprue, which is stuck to the A sprue. How's it? That was a bit delicate there. So what I'll do, I'm just going to work my way through here, taking the parts off. You can see some of these get stuck together, make them a little bit thicker, get them stuck together, and then get that onto there. First off, I think I'm just going to go through, find the various parts, and what I like to do is just lay them on here. So let's start with the C34, C29. Okay, so actually that's C34, C32, C31, C29, right, I'm actually going to remove this section just to make that a little bit easier. They're a bit small and fiddly to get to. So C44, both of those are C44. C40. These bits are the laminated pieces, and then the larger parts, which is A32, A27, A32. Okay, so we've got 3 different versions of wheel wells here. They look very similar to me. I'm sure there's probably going to be subtle differences between them. There. We'll try and find these pieces here. 2 C7s. That's C7. What I'm going to do, snip that part off in one go, and then I'll take them off. A22. So this does build up a little bit here. And into the B sprue. For 27 and 28. There we are. And we can see on this sprue here as well, there's where we've got different variations of 3 different types of gun part that will go on the upper nose. Yeah, 3 different sort of nose upper sections, various rudders, tail planes, those sort of bits as well. Neaten these bits up, and we can start seeing how this is going to build together. Actually, let's kind of let's get these pieces done first. Where was that sanding stick? There's a very small piece there that I was about to break off. It turns out I think that's actually needed. Okay. It might have been even easier to stick these 2 pieces together, then clean that up. Just give a little bit more to hold. Now this has got 2 little dimples in. So it should come together and just locate. There we go. No, come on. Okay, that front bit also the join. Another dab. At the capillary action, just put it through. I've just separated it again. There we are. That's that bit. And repeat the process with this bit. A bit of the dimples. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, it sounds odd, but I'm going to do the clean up after I've stuck them together, just because it's so small and fiddly. So just give them a hold a bit more. Come on. Over on that side. You can get here. Again, a bit small and fiddly. I'm not too sure whether I'm going to need tweezers for this or whether tweezers will increase my chances of it coming off. There we go. Hold that with one hand with the tweezers. Check where this locates. And a little slot for it to go down in. The other side. Too far. There we go. Right. So, pop those in each side. Let's come up to this one that says H, that goes on that side. Fine. And that one is a slightly bigger slot. In fact, it actually slots over. So this, we might be able to slot it into place. That's it. Feel that nice click into place. There we go, let's do the other side. Turn off. Again, there's a little slot. Let those two bits go over. And perfectly, I can just drop the glue down there. There we go. So we've got those little reinforcing spars that will go across. So that will help add a little bit of extra detail to those wheel wells. And before I put this on, I'm going to want to actually let's move this. Now it's most likely that this part I'm going to want to paint the insides of and then glue it into position. I just want to just drop it in first of all. Might go actually. Just wondering whether I'm tempted just to actually glue that in, because all that should be quite accessible with an airbrush. There was this part that I think went on top that needs tidying. Goes in. Thinking actually probably, although I could, I'm actually going to paint those bits separately and then combine, just to make sure I can get all the get in all the little holes, all the little gaps. Oh yeah, and I did actually, talking holes, have to open up a couple of additional little holes in the bottom of the fuselage. So we'll do that in a moment. Get these bits on the wings, and I'm not too sure if I want to put these in yet. We'll check in a minute to see whether these can actually be slotted in once the wing has been built up. I'm not too sure if they will. No, I think they're actually going to have to be going in. I'll just have to be careful I don't knock them off. Let's get these on first of all. What's interesting is, I noticed this when I was drilling it, the holes didn't seem to be quite in line with each other. They're kind of a bit not in line with the panel lines. I think that's because the little pegs on the bottom aren't also in line, and I just assumed these were the same on each side, but no, they are handed, so to speak, to make sure that when it goes in, that it fits smoothly in the correct place with the correct orientation, actually. So that's good. Just down on there. I will also just go around the edges. Just to make sure that we get a nice flush join. Just sort of takes off some of the burring. There we go. Again, if I was to put it in the wrong way round, just as a demonstration, it should. Yeah, that fits. Yeah, there we go. That goes up next to the panel line. It would fit in, but it wouldn't fit in. It would be obvious that it's not in the correct place. That's a good little idea. That needs a tidy. So I'll take these off. You'll need part of the grey, and the actual barrels and parts that protrude are also metallic. Take them off so I can clean them off and paint them on. Paint them up. Pop that safe. Okay, so let's just check on the next page, see if anything else is going to be needing to be painted. But no, we should have. That's going to be the chrome. That's going to be the. Actually, what? So this is going to be the RLN76, and at the moment, just checking before I get the airbrush out. RLN76 on those parts there. Wheel well bits. 76. That's the light blue. That's the light blue. Apart from that part there. And probably the inside of the, what does it say? Okay. Now this is odd. The inside of the landing gear covers aren't the RLN76. They're the grey, but the wheel struts are. Just double check. Note to those are the only parts that need to be coloured with the RLN76. Okay, let's get the airbrush out. It's only going to be a little bit, but just get a bit of paint on those inside wheel wells. So, got some of the RLN76. That's the light blue, or it's more of a grey colour, but it's actually called the light blue. And that is the, I'm using the Vallejo model there, which is 257. There's a few drips of that in there, maybe a little bit more. I don't need much. I'll just give a bit of a top up of some of these if it needs be. Hang on. A good start. Okay. There we go. We can dust it lightly on for now. Neaten it in a moment. around making sure I'm getting it from all the angles. And also just doing the inside edges as well, which is quite easy to miss. But remember that we'll be viewing it from this side, not that side, so it's very easy to just come in because that's the easier way to get to it. I'm going to make sure that you actually, from the part that you'll be viewing it from, will be fine. It's a little bit thick now, see that paint. I think it's going to miss us from the panel line, but I'll rub that down properly. Just don't want that to layer up too thick. I'll clean that off properly there, but it's just not a pool of this all. Right, I think that's fine. Let's just come over these bits. Okay. That goes down a lot better after a second, after it's had a bit of time to dry. Second coat on there. I'll just make sure. Oh yes, I've gone way over how much it needed. Yeah, that should be fine. There and there, and that central part will go over there. Just give it another quick go over. These dimples in there take a wash quite nicely, just to dirty that wheel well up a little. I think the paint's just about running out there, so I think it should just be fine. Yeah, and that's it. Judge that perfectly right. Clean the airbrush up, let that dry, and then actually case of just letting that dry for a little bit, clean the airbrush up, and then once that's dried off a bit, pop those bits together, and essentially we'll have the wings laminated, ready for the fuselage to go on, and then it will actually start looking like a plane. So I'm going to go on and tidy up and get that airbrush cleaned out. Okay, so got that paint on there. I must admit it's not quite dry, but it's almost dry, but good enough. So let's have a bit more of a look. So what I have just done is I've popped the guns in the top of those wheel well sections with the little ammo chutes that actually go out there. So that's in place. And what I have also done is, whilst I had a bit of the dark iron, I put a little bit across there and just on the insides of this bit here, and also the bit which would go on the top, just because that wasn't actually painted, and I just thought it might be visible. I know there's a bit of cone that goes around there as well, but just to make sure it sort of darkens up and highlights. So really only the front of the engine can be seen. Now just a case of popping tops of the wings on. That should just be a case of gluing them in place and then leaving them just to properly cure before we start fiddling around. And we're just going to have to be careful I don't knock the guns. So I've got a few pegs, not too sure they'll be needed, got some elastic bands, but it might hopefully just be a case of just going around and hopefully sealing it up. So I am wondering whether it might be worth, I think what I sometimes like to do with these is use a bit of this stuff just to kind of hold the thing in place. Yeah, it won't be so obvious. I'm just looking at whereabouts the overlap is. Where should I put some of the glue? So there's a little dimple there. Just going to run a little bit down this part here. It should be pretty much hidden. Not too much on the front, maybe just a little down here and there. And hopefully get that little locating pin in. That comes together. And now give that a moment just to bite so it can sort of hold itself together. Itself. There we go. And now run over the seams with the extra thin. Oh, got a fingerprint in there, got a bit run round. That's over some of that finer riveting stuff as well. Okay, wait for it to dry, and then if I start trying to do it now, we'll have more issues. Okay, just run this round the edges. I think that's gone together quite nicely. And actually, we haven't got a join. I was worried that I should have put a bit of glue on the top of that spar, actually, but that seems to have come together okay. Right. There's a little bit of a gap that just wants to come. I don't think I'll need a clamp. I think it's just, yeah, that should be fine. Pop a little bit. Just in there as well. Put the bit where you can't really see it, and hopefully let the capillary action just let it run around. Yeah, there we are. Okay. Okay, that worked well. Let's heat on the other side. Just run these along. So we've got the internal structure. So this straight bit here isn't actually visible on the inside. There's a bit of indicating. In there. Cool. That should do. But what I'll do this time round is put a little bit of the extra thin already on the top of that spar. Shouldn't really be needed. And again, locating pins lined up there, and it clicks in place. Clicks in place. Give that just a moment, let glue just to have its initial bite, hold itself into position. That's good. That's holding its everything square. Down there. Again, it's just that front inner part of the wing doesn't need much, but just needs to be held into place. Put the lid on that and that. Go. It's looking fine. Now it is tempting at this stage to start putting it all together. It is very, very tempting actually. But what I probably should do is, I'm going to wait. I'm going to give it a little bit just for these wings to properly cure, lock into position. I'm tempted though, purely because I just wanted to make sure this is all cured properly before I start trying to manhandle these bits on and locking them in, and don't want to start trying to force them in here and then end up pushing apart. That is going very nicely. Okay, I might just ignore my own advice there, and actually, if I've got this in position, and there's a little, two little bits of these filing there, I might just crack on and do this. Two little bits of sprue gate there. File down earlier. Well, that's fitting better than I thought that was going to. Okay, just to give me a bit of a head start, wasn't expecting I'm doing this, I'm going to run a little bead of this around on some of those location bits, but trying to do it where it won't be visible. So literally on the sort of like the inside joins. Get a bit of this splurge out. Okay, wasn't expecting to be doing this today, to be perfectly honest with you, but we're here now. Hopefully again this should let it bite, so we get that initial sort of join and the initial stickiness, and then once we're sure everything's all literally clicking into place, that's good. Once we're sure everything's fine, we can run round with the extra thin just to really get those seams glued together. But it's just literally falling together. Okay. I thought I might have needed an elastic band or something, but it's seamless. Just a little bit. Okay, what I'm going to do, probably don't need it, but just for bouts and braces, be careful because obviously you don't want to snap off those gun barrels. That just pulls that up in. A little bit of a gap in there, but there's that, you know, literally just the panel line. Let's check, is it square looking down? Have they got the correct dihedral on each wing? As I can tell it is. It's looking about, hang on, let's try and get that lined up. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. And I mean, that seam line at the back there, I can't even tell which. Yeah. Okay. So, bouncing braces, just going to run a little bit. This just on some of those joins. I think I will need a bit of filler in some of this, just a touch. Make this to get it cured properly. Wing does look a little bit low. That's we nailed it. Grab. Band, a bit bigger, double it around. Obviously I want to be careful at gun sights. The Eduard FW190 is starting to come along quite well actually, making quite a bit of progress. So let's have a look, see where we've got to. So, got the wings on. That actually had a few days on for the elastic band just to make sure it's properly cured. Not really much in the way of cleanup needed at all. I mean, the seams are just about right, and then actually insides for the rest of the panel lines. A little bit of filler here and there in places. Probably will need a little bit more of a tidy up just to make sure there are any more filler, smooth everything down. But essentially, going to be putting on a few panels, which pretty much I think these are going to be panels that differentiate the FW190A-8/R2. So there's a few panels like where the top deck, whereabouts the guns go, things that are going to be separating this from other variants, because there's a whole load of spare bits in the kit that aren't needed. Then I'm going to put on the what we've got, ailerons, flaps, rudders, those sort of things, and basically build it up. Next stage is then going to be getting to undercarriage, little bits and pieces, things like aerials, steps, and this stage, and of course we'll probably be missing, because we'll want to get on paint it and prime it before putting those little fiddly bits on an undercarriage. So we'll kind of be missing that. What we'll do is put the undercarriage doors on, use them as blanking plates, masks for painting, so they get painted on the outside, and then of course we will need to do a bit of masking for the canopy before we can then go on to paint. So I think the next phase now is just to get these bits on, see if I can actually deflect them a little bit so there's a little bit of movement on there. That's always nice instead of them having them straight on, especially when things are powered down. Flaps tend to be dropped, not so much the flaps. The flaps are actually non-movable on this one, but at least like ailerons, something like that, maybe just have a little bit of a shift on them. So yeah, let's just get those bits on there and then pretty much see if we can get this ready for prime.
and the German stick grenade, which is usually the modern 1924 or M24, which has been steadily evolving since the First World War. Both these grenades are quite effective, with as many similarities as differences. The most significant difference is obviously the stick or handle of the M24, which allowed it to be thrown further. The stick also meant that it didn't bounce or roll around as usual, making it more likely to stay where it was. Such grenades were separated by rotating deflection and be thrown back by the rotation of the stick. That's how the Eduard II stick is rolled out. R2s and M24s are related to ProfiPACK. One significant advantage of the stick grenade is that multiple vortexes can be put together and used against bunkers that are unusable. There were several ways of doing this, including various methods of using ailerons on the ground, as shown here by putting forces to make the surface bunkers, or inter-supplies of different forces used against those combat surfaces. Interestingly, Chinese forces were also employed in stick grenades, supplied by Germany, and then later homemade against Germany's allies in Japan. Pre-war Germany helped build China's air industry in an attempt to assure us more supplies of raw materials. Though the American Mark II grenade could not be pulled as strong as it had a tendency to jolt. It was largely superior than the other Alpha. The casing was more resistant to fragmentation, making it more effective against fleets or in open areas. Most importantly, it was blunt and slow, requiring less time than usual to operate, which was crucial during high-stress conditions. Significantly, for anyone planning to spread air equipment, such as a parachute, the Mark II roadblock is a lot less weight. Imagine how most would be able to go after a lot as opposed to this. Layered grenades were originally used to clear across the field. American soldiers, for example, living very close to the risk of carrying their forces by the pin or spoon occupied fields obsolete, such as the FW190A or Woody Harrelson built in Florida. The Brothers were most important thing you have to apply is quality control always without distraction. And you can't handle yourself if you're easily triggered. Take things personally and you just can't stop.
So I'm just putting on the final one of the ailerons, but basically I've added a little bit of a deflection on these. So these gone on only a little bit, but what I've done, I've just kicked one down a little, one up a little, just so there's probably about a millimetre down on that side, millimetre up on that side. Not loads, but it's just enough just to add a little bit of deflection. Going with the rudder, that's slightly kicked over to starboard side, as you can see. And what I've basically done, there's some little tabs that keep it in straight. I was going to try to file down one side so it would go in at a bit of an angle. Ended up finding it's easier just to take the tabs off. I've also done that for that rear one as well. Just drop that down a little. You might just be able to see it just comes down. I'm just going to do the same for the last one. So was going to see if I could bend the little tabs on here. I found actually the easiest thing to do is to just trim those little tabs off. There we go. I'm not looking to have much deflection on there, but this would actually give you full range. One of the problems with those main ones on the wings is that the some of the other bits, and they were quite large, would sort of kick it out a little bit too much. So couldn't put too much deflection on there unless I was going to do a little bit more surgery on there. But essentially, got that nice and smooth. Take a little bit of the extra thin and just run that on the little groove where it sits in anyway, and then slot that in. There's a little hole there, and push it in place. And let's just try a bit more. Just so that it sits in there, it just bites it. There we go. And now I'll probably put on too much because we've got a bit of grippage. Just make sure they're both kicked down the same amount. These are, the bar would go straight through, so you wouldn't have one up, one down like you would on those. That's fine. I'm just going to not move it around too much, just give that, basically hold that for a moment to dry. Before I put this on, I just need to put a bit of paint on the inside. We've got the little cover as well. That goes over the gun sight. That's going to need a little bit of paint on as well. So just going to do a little bit of that painting. Wait for that just to make sure it's dry. there on straight. No one shouldn't have moved it. It was in perfect position until I decided to wiggle it for no reason whatsoever. So just going to be just hold it like this for a couple of minutes just whilst that dries off, get those bits done, and then we're going to be skipping over this page, and then it pretty much just checking if there's any of those bits that need to be done. Put the canopy on there, start the masking, and then into prime.